What up, everybody? Before we get started, I wanted to read one of the funniest posts that I've read on the Fortnite Reddit. And this is from last weekend's server outage. So it's no longer applicable, but hey, I wanted to share it with you guys. It's probably because I can relate so much, but hopefully you guys enjoyed as much as I did. And it was done by XRP1X. And he says, "Why I'm not happy with Epic. I've got to tell you, Epic, I'm pretty pissed. I was onto a good thing, man. A free game that happens to be awesome. A game it turns out I'm also pretty good at. But you had to go and spoil it. Not cool, man. I'm on the game constantly. It's my drug of choice. But with the queues yesterday and today, coupled with not being able to join with my mates, I had to turn it off. Not a biggie, you would think. Well, that's where the problem began. I had to go and sit with a person who also lives in my house. I think she's called the wife. Well, at the time of switching Fortnite off, she happened to be watching Britain's Got X Factor, who can strictly dance while doing something. My poor eyes, F me, they still hurt. Normally, I shield myself from such hideous TV as I'm playing your game. But I had to sit through nearly 2 hours of this nonsense. Plus, I had the constant threat of her killing me if I didn't shut the F up or piss off back to the PlayStation. Please, Epic, sort yourselves out. If I have to watch any more TV or sit in the same room as that woman, then there are the kids. Or at least, I think they are my kids, as they keep referring to me as Dad. Due to your game, I now have superhuman highly sensitive hearing. I'm able to hear our postman approaching on foot from nearly 50 foot away and tell the direction of a gunshot from 200 meters. So when my darling little ankle biters are running around screaming their little lungs out, my ears are literally bleeding. Couple that with the eye pain from the TV, I'm sure you will agree I am utterly suffering. Please, Epic, please fix your brilliant game and save a suffering man this Christmas season."
You're listening to the Fortnite Community Podcast with your hosts, TwoLoud, TX, and NolXero.
What up, and welcome back for another NolXero, another Fortnite Community Podcast, bro. I mean, this is 4 podcasts in less than
2 weeks.
Than 2 weeks. It's crazy, man. We're throwing these shows out for you guys, and we really appreciate you guys giving us all the feedback and showing your love. Thank you so much for that. As always, guys, another show brought to you by Glomtom, glomtom.com. Make sure you guys check out glomtom.com for the perfect Christmas gift for yourself or for your friends. And if you didn't hear my story from the Save the World episode this week, I actually had a true life story where I missed my Glomtom. So go check that podcast out. That episode was a lot of fun, talking a lot about Save the World and giving out a lot of tips this week. Things that I learned, actually. I just wanted NolXero to share with the rest of the world. It's unfair to have information in that head, NolXero, and not share it with everybody. It's just...
Right, I mean, we got to save the world together.
Yeah, that's true. One fortnight at a time.
Right, I can't save the world by myself.
Well, guys, there's been a lot of news this week, and there's been a lot of servers down. There's been a lot of servers back up and servers down, and crazy news happening. We had Fortnite going crazy, Battle Royale style at PSX. So if you guys caught that, there was all kinds. Golden Boy was casting it, and there was all kinds of crazy, awesome stuff happening. They were giving out Astro headsets, and they were giving out shirts and hats and merchandise, and people standing in the audience screaming, trying to play with the streamers that were on. And it was Dr. Lupo was there, and I mean, it was crazy, man. It was a lot of fun to watch. So if you're a Battle Royale fan and you missed that this past week, I am sorry. Go watch some of those streams. They're on the Fortnite Twitch channel, so I'm sure you can go catch up if you want to. But it was a lot of fun to see that and see them out at PSX. I mean, NolXero, from the VGAs to PSX, they're in front all the time right now with this Battle Royale stuff, just hammering it to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's awesome. They can't shut up about the game. They're everywhere. And they come out with new game modes all the time. They just come out with new stuff all the time. And I'm like, how does anybody ever supposed to get bored of this game? Like,
Not
when does
anytime
that
soon.
happen?
Yeah, not anytime soon for sure. I mean, speak of being bored. If you were bored, you're like, yeah, I got solos in the bag. I got duos in the bag. And I got squads in the bag. Well, how about some 50-50 they released? Speak of the VGAs this past week. And, I mean, just something else. They're like, hey, here you go. For limited time, we're going to throw this out there for a little bit. I mean, a lot like Save the World, right? They have these events. It's almost like, hey, they're making all these events they can use in Battle Royale as well.
Yeah. And 50 versus 50 was, when we started playing it the other night, I was like, it's nothing that I would have thought like, oh, hey, that's what I want. I want y'all to make a 50 versus 50 game mode. And yet they did it, and it's fun. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you did because I had fun. It's a blast. So I don't know. They constantly have really good ideas, and I'm curious. I have been curious, like how much of this is planned, and how much are they coming up with on the fly?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much is by demand because of how crazy the community is, how thirsty it is, how it keeps growing. It's going to be interesting to see how they keep this monster moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Because it's really exciting to see what they're doing right now. I'm excited to see what they're doing. And with 50-50 coming out, it opens a whole new bag, right? Because we had heard when they were, 2 weeks ago or whatever, when they were at DreamHack a couple weeks ago, they released the custom games, right? That they were throwing out there as well. So here we got custom games of 50-50 already in like a 2-week span. It's like, holy cow! Like, are they letting it all out of the bag already?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the part I'm not worried about. I don't want to say it like that, but that's the part where I'm like, how much did y'all have of this plan? Like, custom games seems like a pretty easy plan. Like, of course, at some point we'll have custom games, right? That seems like a legitimate easy plan that was probably in the books pretty early.
Right.
But like with 50-50 coming out, and given that's the first, unique spin on the whole Battle Royale Last Man Standing game mode that we've seen, I'm just curious, like, going forward, like the next plan, whatever the next thing is, say it's like, I don't know, 25 versus 25 versus 25 versus 25.
Right.
Like, how much of this is, like, that's where I was asking the question of how much of this is planned? How much of this are y'all coming up with as time moves along? Like, where does the plan end and the new stuff start? Like, that's the part I'm curious about. Like, if I could ask the devs one thing, that would be one of the things I'd like to ask. Like, hey, was this 50 versus 50 game mode an idea, and then, idea met reality, or was it just something that kind of came up as time went by and things kind of progressed where y'all were like, hey, let's try a 50 versus 50 game?
Huh. Well, I mean, one thing that I think everybody's been requesting as well, and is something else that looks like it's coming up. And I saw this tweet today actually from the Fortnite Daily Twitter handle, was that, supposedly good chance we'll be seeing a snow-covered map in the Fortnite Winter update. So according to this, there's some files. They were actually sound files that were added recently, and like I said, these are sound files, and it was like the soldier snow crunch footsteps.
You've had issues talking today.
Yeah, the snow crunch footsteps. It was the different walks, the landing in the
for
snow.
PvP, right?
Yeah, this is all for the PvP Fortnite Battle Royale. So
I was just curious because I think it's pretty obvious that we're gonna have some kind of snow-covered something in PvE.
Yeah.
So I was just making sure that was actual PvP, that they were like, hey, yeah, we found these files for PvP. That's cool.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they went and pulled the Battle Royale stuff. They don't have the file extensions all the way out, but what they do show is that it's like the landing, right, and the hard landing, the crouching, which crouching isn't available in PvE.
That's true.
Right. So they have all these listed there. So, hey, it's really interesting because it does look like we're going to get a snow-covered map. I hope to God they freeze over the lake.
That'd be awesome.
I hope they freeze over Loot Lake. It will change the place so much, opening up a whole new area to run through, to play through. Different strategy for how to get around the map, right? So,
absolutely. It becomes a lot different how you address that area.
Yeah, I mean, if circle's on the other side of it, no longer do you have to run by dam, right? Or go through the river.
Are you going to build across this thing?
Yeah. So I would be really excited to see that if that's one of the things. Obviously, shout out to Fortnite Daily for pulling those files and tweeting them out and showing them. I'm super excited about that, and I hope that's some. But in regards to 50-50, what we have seen this week, what's been going down, I mean, how do you think the game, from your perspective, how do you feel about the game mode? How have you been enjoying it?
So, obviously, my reception was kind of lukewarm. Like, I was really excited, and we played it a little bit. It was kind of lukewarm. As far as like, it's all right. And I still kind of feel that way. I love that they're doing it. I think it's fantastic if it becomes a more permanent thing or it comes around every so often. I think that's all great things because it is more casual. It's kind of hard to take real seriously like you might with your 2v2s or squads or your solos. But like some of the frustrations is like looting, finding ammo, having bandages, like basic stuff. Because right now, more so than ever, like you think whenever you're playing, regular matches, you go into like retail row, people start getting in fights, there's loot being distributed amongst teams while other teams are dying. Well, right now you have like 20 people show up at retail row from one team and maybe 10 from the other team. You'll wipe out the other team, but then you still have 20 people, destroying each other trying to grab the loot. Yeah. And so those are the parts I get frustrated with. It's a minor complaint. It's one of those things where it's like, dude, you got to understand you're playing a more casual game mode. And that's where I think I get frustrated because I'm like super competitive. I'm like, I want ammo and I want, 50 million kills and I want to carry this thing on my back. But I can't even find, a decent weapon. So it gets a little frustrating for me. But overall, I think it's a great game mode. I think it's great to give people a casual game mode to where they can actually see. One thing I was reading actually tonight on Reddit, a guy was saying that he was so thankful for the Reddit community because he started playing Battle Royale, didn't know what to do, and was having a lot of problems. And then within 10, 15 games and talking to the Reddit people, like he's like, dude, I love this game. It's fantastic. And now you could, with a 50-50 game mode, I know it's a limited time event, but it does give people that are coming to this thing and they're trying to figure out what it's all about. It gives them a chance to kind of see what buildings like, see what other people play like, and looting and all that stuff. It gives them an opportunity to see that stuff without being in a super competitive environment of a 1v1 or the ones, the duos or the squads.
Well, I think what we said before, kind of some of the things we said to be positive about a custom game is being able to go in there and take a little more time to learn the ropes, right? And I think 50-50 definitely does that. It is going through from December 8th through the 17th. So, anybody that's interested, maybe you're just stumbled upon the podcast, us from somewhere else. This game mode is definitely worth giving it a try. Maybe you didn't like any other Battle Royale type of game you've played before. But I think this will really give you an opportunity to learn some things, be in there. Look, some of the things that have changed on this is friendly fire is off, which is very helpful for new players, right? Especially when you're trying to get accustomed to what's happening. And thank God they turned that off, because can you imagine somebody landing with 20 of your teammates and just wiping them out, right?
Yeah. Not only that, but so people are very confused, obviously, at the games we played. I noticed so much confusion where people start shooting at you and like, oh, that's a teammate.
Yeah.
And so there would be a ton of that going on. Think about the griefing. How crappy would it be to get in there and maybe get griefed several times or just a couple times? Dude, really? I mean, we already see it in squads sometimes when we're playing. We don't have a fourth and we forget to no-fill, where some guy will shoot us down for no reason. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you down. I'll pick you back up, and then he just does stupid stuff to grief you. I can't imagine how bad it would be in 50 versus 50.
Yeah, so
I'd like to say it wouldn't be bad, but I know it would.
Yeah, thank God they turned the friendly fire off. You still see you still will see the hit indicator, but it doesn't do any damage.
Apparently, one thing I wanted to put on there, apparently it doesn't work with bushes. So that you don't take damage, but apparently if in 50 versus 50, if I have a bush on and you shot me, I lose the bush, even though I took no damage.
Bro, I told you need to trim that bush up.
Yeah, exactly.
Limited visibility of non-squad teammates. So, you will see your team on the map if you're within like a certain vicinity of that team.
Yeah.
So you don't see everybody where everybody landed. You'll see these little green arrows of everybody else. You're still also put in a squad. So it's not like you're dropped down there and it lists 50 people on the side of your screen that you're on a team with. This is still only going to list 4 squad members at a time. And your chat is only, if you're using game chat, it's only happening through those 4 members. So 3 members, including yourself. You can receive any friend teammates. I can't read it. You can revive any friendly teammates. So all 50 or 49 of your friends, you can revive them. And you won't see non-squad teammates until you land. So that's something I actually didn't realize until now. But it makes sense because I haven't seen other people landing right around me until we hit the ground. And then all of a sudden they're in the building next to me, right? So that's been pretty interesting to see. I've actually enjoyed this mode. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a great time to like get in and warm up and play a couple before you get in and start sweating it out a little bit. I've really enjoyed that. And maybe you have that friend that you're like, dude, I don't want to play duos with them. I don't want to play squads with them. They're just not that good. And, you don't want to be that guy. It's like never playing with your buddy.
Like that.
Then, this is a great mode for that because you can be like, who cares? It doesn't really matter, whatever. This is perfect for that. So if you have a friend named Kyle or something like that isn't really good at the game. No, I'm kidding, Kyle, if you're listening. But you can definitely do that. It is a fun. It is, I think, as you said, NolXero, it is less competitive as far as getting sweaty in there.
It's fun.
It's a lot of fun to play. What I really enjoy about it the most, though, is when you get at the end and you have 30 people left on one team. Although it's usually really outweighed, like you have 30 and then the other team has like 10 left or 15 or something. It's never really, really close. But it's the fact of like these structures that people start building at the end of the game are crazy awesome to watch.
Yeah, I actually wish that they would change it up a little bit and make an emphasis on looting and building and then kind of unleashing the 2 teams on each other. Right. More like the trailer we saw for 50 versus 50. Or like these 2 big buildings, and you had the bushes sneaking up on it, and it was just like battle over these 2 mega bases. But it is pretty crazy, like how much structure, 20, 30 people can, when they're working together, can throw up.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking nuts.
Yeah,
it's pretty freaking nuts.
Dude, I've seen some skyscrapers, bro. Just insane. Just insane.
Absolutely.
If you were to say like there's one thing that you think would make that game mode better, or change it up enough to maybe make it a little more enticing to play, is there something that you've already gone like, hey, if they would do this, I think it'd be a better experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what I was going into just a second ago. I was like, I don't think that they should play 50 versus 50 like a regular Battle Royale. I think, honestly, I feel like what you should do, I think they should bring the mode back more permanently and have a situation where it's like, maybe a smaller playing area and like the field is cut in half, right? So, field's cut in half, each team has this, amount of time to go loot. And same deal, like there's buildings and stuff, like maybe a couple towns and stuff. And these 50 people are running around grabbing resources and looting, and the other side is doing the same thing. And then the storm wall is in the middle, and that kind of like goes away and maybe puts the storm around the entire map again, and then closes in again. But I think it'd be pretty cool to have like, I don't know, a 5-minute looting building kind of situation where it's like, okay, we've all looted, we've gotten all these resources, let's build up this massive like building in the middle, and then boom, now each side has their massive building built up, and now we go at it.
Yeah.
Which is basically an overhaul of the entire game mode completely.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think it would be cool. So one of the things I thought that would be really neat to change it up is like have like a hotspot that's gonna drop on the map. So I would say drop everybody on the map. You can do it kind of how you want it now. I think the two sides would be kind of cool, like dropping. But you have like this targeted spot, right? Like a balloon. And what's going to happen at this hotspot is there's going to be like 10 balloons drop, right? So like everybody's going towards that. And it's going to be inside of circle. But at the same time, purple never stops in this mode. Like I want purple like move, slower at other times, obviously. But like at first it's just moving like constantly. As soon as you land, it's moving. And there's these spots that are dropping on the map. They're like hot spots. They're like 10 balloons, 5 balloons, whatever at a time. And they're just causing these major, like fights going down and people grabbing everything. And that way it's like loading people up with great stuff. So like when you get to the end, all of a sudden you have these teams that like maybe it is 15 versus 30, but like this one team could have a bunch of rocket launchers, right? And a bunch of stuff. And it's like, okay, now this is a battle, right? And so like that's what I thought would be cool is like have these hotspots where you're dropping like 10 balloons at a time. And then circle is always constantly moving. Make the games go a little bit faster too, right? Like let's make them where you just get in. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes at max, and you're done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would like to see, if nothing else, a little more structure to kind of help. Like, because I get it's more casual mode, but once you get into pretty big, discrepancies of numbers, it can be really hard to have fun with the mode.
Hey, what if they dropped everybody with you started as a bush. Everybody started as a bush. How awesome would that be? With like 100 bushes on the map.
Do like 50-50, but 50 people spawn, they don't jump down. They start as a bush. Okay. And the other 50 then drop, and they just have like a pistol. It's like single shot kills or something like that, but make it to where it's like hide and seek.
Oh, that'd be fun.
You're trying to find the 50 bushes.
Oh, that would be awesome. That'd be awesome.
And maybe have it where like if I can get to you and touch you as the bush without you shooting me,
yeah,
you're dead.
If I can hit you with my axe.
Yeah, something like that. Like have a way for the bushes to one shot you, and then you have to figure out.
Oh, that would be so. Dude, like a hide and seek on there would be so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be cool.
That'd be a blast. Yeah, obviously, look, they're coming up with tons of ideas. They're doing tons of different things. I'm excited to see where they're gonna go.
I just love that they're so willing to experiment. They're so clearly like, hey guys, like nothing goes past us as far as like they don't seem to be like that's a bad idea. Right. They seem to entertain everything. Like, okay, maybe we could do something like that.
So in the update we got last week, version 1.10, we got the new interface, the new UI interface, and I like it a lot better. They actually did a much better job at moving items around.
Yes, way better.
So if you guys haven't got a
like
chance,
less like laggy. I don't know if there's like an input lag before, but like there'd be times where you go in your menu and Battle Royale is pretty stressful.
Yeah.
And when you're on controller,
it can be.
Right. When you're on controller, dropping stuff can really take you out of the action for an extended period of time, as opposed to a mouse and keyboard. So the fact that they've made it so much easier is really nice on controller because it's like, okay, holy crap, I'm not going to necessarily get my butt killed while I'm in the menus trying to get, choice of ammo.
Right. No, what I really like is, before when you select an item, if you guys haven't had a chance to play since last week, if you select an item, now you can just swap it immediately with whatever item in your hotbar that you want, right? So you don't have to like move it off the hotbar and then click it again to move it back in the hotbar and then select the item you want. So it's way quicker. I mean, this is night and day faster. So I'm really enjoying it. I still do say that slot 4 and 5 need to be left and right on the D-pad to
Yes.
be able to access those items really quickly. But hey, it is what it is. Maybe one day we'll get that chance. We'll get to go to Epic and see them and say, hey, what about this idea? So
yes, I like that idea.
It would be good to still see that. Obviously, as I mentioned, they've had some server issues since they've done this update. I'm not sure what have all caused that, but I think they've got most of those figured out. But I'm really excited to see that not only are they changing things when it comes to game modes, right, and they're experimenting in that way, they're also not settled to say, like, hey, we got the setup we need for controller. Hey, we got the setup we need for the UI. Like, here it is. Instead, they keep going at it and they keep making it better. And that's really encouraging to me as a player that, invest my time. Because I think any game, whether it's, Fortnite or, Destiny, or you're playing, NBA 2K, whatever it is, it's a game that you invest your time in. It's really encouraging to play it and see that the developer also respects your time and knows that, hey, you're investing in this game and we want to make it better for you.
Yeah, I like. You never want to be to the point where like it's good.
Yeah.
We're done. Because then it's like, well, I have nothing to look forward to, and the podcast gets hard to do as well.
That's true.
Like, these guys are like, hey, y'all want to do a podcast? This is a perfect game to do a podcast about because we're gonna have crap every single week to talk about.
Right.
And so far they have. And they're constantly tweeting out stuff. I don't know. I've seen some negative stuff, and I say some because it's been pretty light. I feel like some people got pissed off about the server problems this week. And it's typical. I get it,
Well, the guy on Reddit,
on
who was it? It was Genius Sword. He had 8,000 hours, 8,017 hours and 34 minutes and 19-second wait time. So
yeah, that was hilarious.
I'm not sure how many months or years that equates to, but that dude was going to be waiting a long time.
Hopefully, he's getting in soon.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
Hopefully, he turned off and reset. Yeah.
If not, maybe he should pick a new game. Just saying. But no, it's encouraging. Like I feel like everything that they do is like pretty refreshing. We come from Destiny. There's no hiding that. We did a lot of Destiny content, and we also did a lot of stuff for Siege.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to crap on anybody here, but like Destiny's obviously in some rough patch right now, and Bungie has been kind of hit or miss on how well they're communicating with that community. Siege has, I would say, gotten progressively better. They started out not terrible, and they've just progressively gotten better as far as their communication. But this community, we come to this one, it feels almost refreshing because I feel like the timeline on things is so short. I feel like people that are complaining and like not fun, because I've seen a lot of funny complaints. People are like, "Oh, I have to go spend time with the wife because your game is lagging out or whatever." Like, so the people are like really serious about it. I feel like they actually might be spoiled a little bit. And not that that's a bad thing. Like, I think it's that you should be able to hold people, these companies to the highest standards that you want or you feel is necessary. But in a sense, you're kind of spoiled because there's a lot of communities out there that are beating down developer doors and can't get a response. And these guys are like spoon feeding responses, like, "Hey, here's some stuff you didn't even ask for, and here, have this, and hey, we know this is a problem, we're trying to fix it." And I just feel like they're constantly saying stuff. I feel like I never have to really ask a question. Like, geez, they're always out there saying something.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you. I definitely think that, one of the things that is hard to judge here is because the Battle Royale section of this game is free. Right? So literally they could just go, look, guys, this is free. Don't get too crazy on us. It's the free part of the game. But they've taken this just as serious as they take Save the World. And
in fact, almost in some cases more so.
Yeah.
Because it's like I was actually going through their updates last night and just looking through past updates, just kind of see where the game was and things that they've changed as time has gone by. And one thing that became very clear was after Battle Royale came out, it seemed to be the focus of the game. And so a lot of people got salty about Save the World, and rightfully so. They should be mad, not mad, but they should be frustrated and have held Epic's feet to the fire on the Save the World part of the game, because there are a lot of improvements that Save the World need.
Right.
And for a little bit there, and it looks like they're kind of coming back around and finding that balance, but for a little bit there, it did seem like Epic was like, well, Battle Royale is the future of this game. And
the reality is it has more players in the solo mode, obviously, or the single player campaign, that's for sure.
But I also think it was the launch of a new mode, right? Like they put out Save the World, that was the very first Fortnite experience that was available.
Right.
And they got that to a functioning, working game, I feel, is what their process was.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, now we're going to bring out the next mode. And that mode was Battle Royale, their PvP. And I feel like the last couple months, the reason maybe it seems like they've been focused on Battle Royale is that was their process of making sure Battle Royale was up, running, and a fully functional experience. Well, now it seems like they're working on like, hey, let's get into the balance of having both of these modes, taking care of both.
Well, and I would say, guys, if you haven't tried Save the World and you love Battle Royale, give it a try. If you missed the sale this past week, I'm sorry. I'm sure there'll be another one soon. But it is awesome. It is a lot of fun, and we're really enjoying it. The more you dive into it, the more you find out like how deep the game is, and it's very encouraging. But as always, we're going to end this one on a high with a tip for you guys. So let's jump over there into our tips and tricks.
You ask, do we have tips? Of course. And do we have tricks? Oh, yes, we do. So listen up.
All right, so NolXero, we talked about traps and Save the World this week. So I thought, what better way to talk about traps in Battle Royale? So tell us, like, when do I use a trap in Battle Royale? Like, what's the best time to use a trap? Is it right when I land? I get a trap, throw it in a house, bada bing, bada boom, done? Or
yes.
do I hold on to my trap until the end, make a section, when I'm making my final fort and final circle, and hope they hit it? Like, when do I use a trap in Battle Royale? And what are some tips and tricks to be effective with my traps?
All right. So the a-hole in me wants to say never, all the things I was making comments to while you were trying to say what you were trying to say.
Right.
Drop them as soon as you land. Look, what's the most valuable trap in PvP? Retractable floor spike.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can't hear the damn things.
Yep.
You can hear them when they're placed, but after that you can't hear them. And you're not always expecting that, like, not everybody uses them. Most people don't use traps at all, ever. So it's not often that you walk into a house and boom, there's spikes on the floor. I've only gone down, I think, to spikes once, and that was while someone was actually placing them underneath me when I had like a really crappy revolver pistol, and I died to that. But I have a pretty good awareness to them. But here's the way to use them. I think retractable spikes are really good in the first instance of landing, right? Especially if you're in like Greasy or Retail or something, high traffic area, salty, and you're in a position where you watched, and there's a ton of people there, right? You're playing duos, and there's 40 people, not literally, but
right.
You know what I'm talking about. You know those times when you drop.
Yeah, where I'm like, get out of my house.
Crap.
Yeah,
I've stopped counting how many people are dropping here.
Yeah, retail happens
are,
like that all the time.
Yeah, those are really good times to drop a cheeky little retractable floor spikes in an area that people aren't maybe, thinking about. Um, as far as that goes, like further into the game, I think some ceiling traps or wall traps play a part because the biggest problem is they're really loud once those traps are placed. Like you have this really loud electric bzz, bzz going on over and over again, right? So before you even walk in the house, you can hear it, and you're like, "There's a trap in there." And I used to think, well, that's really crappy. They shouldn't be so loud, and they shouldn't. I really think that they need to turn down traps to where
they're making. Yeah, I think they made a small adjustment on the. I think I saw that they're going to do another one, but I'm not sure.
They should make a large adjustment to them because they're hella loud.
Well, but before you get too far, how loud those are, I will say this: as far as ceiling traps go, they're usually best right inside a doorway, just in case someone's not paying attention, right? Or at the staircase at the very top. Right, so if there's a staircase placed at the very top, they can't see it. It's not as visible. And then as far as wall traps go, right at the front door, typically I like them there. But I also like putting them on the outside of the house.
That's what I was going to say. My favorite place to put wall traps is on the outside of the house. Because people, when they hear them, expect them to be in the house.
Yep.
They don't always expect them to be outside the house. The big thing I was going to say, the thing I will say about traps and placing even the loud ones that I actually, for the longest time, didn't think about, but actually have thought about more, is when you're in those holy crap, there's a ton of people here situations. It actually serves as a good deterrent from people coming into the house, right? They aren't necessarily, like, they're not so quick to be like, oh yeah, I'm going in there and messing this dude up. Because they hear the trap, and then they're like, well, now I got to compete where's the guy in the house? And where's that trap?
Right.
So it is a good deterrent. As far as placing, a big thing I'd say is, is baiting the trap. Throwing down a weapon or an item of high value near those ceiling and wall traps where maybe you can get some play. Because here's the thing. How often have you been running from the storm and you're like, oh, I'm gonna pop over here. I see there's a purple over here. What is that? Oh, it's a scar. And you go and grab the scar. You grab a full med pack. If you bait those things, maybe even if you can't go back and get the item, maybe there's an extra scar or something lying around. Those are very useful ways to do it. And the last tip, as far as like getting close to final circle and stuff, if you're building, a 2-tile thing straight up into the sky, there's really not a lot of great opportunities for traps there. I mean, you could put them on the walls and stuff as you're building up this tower. But I think one thing that I've seen us do a little bit more is we build a little bit more confusing buildings.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, we have kind of like some hallways and stuff, and they're not like necessarily huge, but we do kind of start throwing in some things. So it's like, yes, there's a trap in there, and if they break in or come in through the bottom or they fall into the thing, like it kind of gets scary of like, where the hell is this trap?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I would say so as well. Like holding them till the ends are really tough. There's not always a great time to use them. I would just say for me, I usually try to use them mid or early, maybe mid game, depending on where we're running to. Right?
Yeah, that's where I use it particularly most of my trap.
Yeah, I'm dropping them early game most times. Sometimes mid game if we're running through salty or something. And you'll see it happen a lot. You drop one in salty in mid game as you're running through to the next circle. The next thing you know, you're like, where did I get a kill from? Oh, that's right. The dude hit my trap back in salty. So yeah, that always
like
happens.
Karma.
But
it's that thing that you don't get to see happen, but will happen.
And it puts a smile on your face. And you dance out that kill as well, just to dance in case the guy is now looking at you because you killed him. So
that person got off pissed.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Shoot us a review on iTunes. It helps other people find us. Helps other people find Fortnite Podcast and locate. Hey, if they're interested in Battle Royale, they know where to come. Listen every week. Obviously, you can send all your complaints and all your advice to us over at FortnitePodcast@gmail.com. Or you can just follow us on Twitter and shoot us a dirty message there at Fortnite Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at TwoLoudTX, TWOLOUDTX, and Nolxero, NOLXERO. And until next time, guys, dance out those kills and boast in those victory royales.